All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy, the Surgical Guru, and I wasn't able to get myself setting up, but here's the finished product of me setting up for a Depuy Attune total knee replacement. So I just wanted to show you this system real quick. I love this system. This is actually the system that I used when I first started scrubbing total knees. But we're gonna go through the steps of this procedure and everything that we use in order to replace the knee. So here on the Mayo stand, we have a coker. We have a grasper. I forget the name of that grasper, but we use that to grab the tibia after we make the tibia cut. We have our Ferris Smith forceps. We have our rongeur, 2 regular homins, 2 rakes, 2 10 blades on number 3 handles. We have our bandage scissors, which we use to chop up our IO-band. We've got our Bovie, our suction, and our suction irrigator here, all right? And then we have our Eschmark to do our exsanguination. All right, so the Bovie actually comes with this tip on it. Our doctor doesn't like that tip, so we switch it over to that tip. I think that one is a little less sticky. And all right, we got our laps, we got our bulb syringe. We got our stapler, which they like to use at the end of the procedure. All right, here we have our tibial resection guide. We grab the right side because it's a right side procedure. There's a left and a right cutting block that you put at the top of the cutting jig. All right, you have that stylus, which our doctor takes at the top of the cutting jig before he makes the cut. I think it's just to measure and make sure that it's the right amount of something or other, some doctor mumbo jumbo. All right, when we put that on the cutting jig, it needs to be accompanied with some pins. That's the rule of thumb. Anytime you put on a cutting jig between the femoral cutting jig and the tibial cutting jig, you always got to lock it in place. So these are our pins, pin holders that we give the doctor. Our smooth pins, because there's 2 different types of pins. You have the smooth pins, and then you also have the threaded pins. So the threaded pins attach to this Hudson here, which goes onto your drill, right? And the smooth pins go on that holder. The smooth pins go along with your mallet here to knock it in place. And then after you're done doing your cuts, this is our pin remover right here. All right. So yeah, that's how that goes. You put the pins in, you make your cuts with that saw right there. And then after you make the cut with the tibial jig, you will take your pins out with that pin remover there, or pin jack, we call it as well. And then you will use this wide osteotome to basically separate the tibial bone from, the bone, separate the bone from the bone. And then you grab it with that monster right there, all right? And then a lot of times they'll kind of like hold it up with this thing right there, the tibial bone, and then use the Bovie to get off any extra edges, and that's it. All right, so that's for the tibia. And then in the femur, what we'll do is we'll start with this drill, like the femoral introducing drill. Oh, I forgot, before we put the pins in for the tibial cutting jig, right? For this one, they'll take this drill and kind of like make starter holes before putting the pins in. This is my first time doing that. I haven't done that with anyone else. But anyway, back to the femur. So the femur, we start with this drill, all right? And then afterwards, they will take this sword. I've referred to it as in the past, We set that, depending on the size that we are doing, you see there's right and left that you can set it. We set it to right 5, all right? And then up there, we always set that dial to 10. It's locked at first, and you can't get this piece on right there. But once you turn it and put it to 10, then you're able to put that piece on, and then you put that piece on top of it. I wish I could show you guys, but I'll show you that in another video. So you start with the drill, and then you put the sword in, all right? And after you put the sword in, then once again, we lock it into place. We lock it into place with a couple of pins. So you take the pin driver along with your mallet. And then after they lock it into place, then they'll give you the whole sword. The only thing that'll be remaining is the actual cutting jig. All right, so then they will take the saw and they'll make their first cuts on the femur. All right, and after you make your first cuts on the femur, then the femur is gonna be flat because the cutting jig is like that. So the femur will be flat and you'll be able to put on the femoral sizer, all right? So you put on the femoral sizer and that'll let you know what size femur that you're working with. We already know what size that we are going to do for this. It's a 6, so there it is right there. Once you know what size you're gonna work with, after the sizer, then you take the 4-in-1 cutting block, all right? You take the 4-in-1 cutting block. We now are going to use our threaded pins, and you lock in the 4-in-1 cutting block, and then they're gonna take the saw back. So they take the saw back, you make your cuts with the 4-in-1 cutting block, and that's what's going to actually, you make your cut through that hole at the top, and then there's 2 holes in the middle that you're gonna make cuts through, and that's what's going to make your femur the size that it needs to be, or the configuration that it's going to be. You know, it cuts off all the bone that's dead or that's not good so that you can now put on your trial and make sure that it fits nicely. And if they like it, then they're going to take this femoral lug drill. It's the patella / femoral drill. They take that femoral lug drill and they put it through the holes that are in the femoral trial. And now your femur is ready for the implant. So the next thing that they're going to do is make sure that the spacing is right. After you do your femoral cuts, you do your tibial cuts, you wanna make sure that the spacing is right in between your femur and your tibia. So that's why you will take the dog bone, which is what that is called, all right? You take the dog bone, and you're also gonna take a couple of shims. So these are your shims, all right? Depending on what size tibia or femur, I can't remember which one, depending on which size you use determines what aisle you're gonna use here, but you have size 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, it goes all the way up. You're either gonna use the grays, the green and the yellow, or the blue and the red. I might have to switch, oh no, see, that's how you know. That's a clue right there. So the yellow on top of the 6, the blue on top of the 7, the red on top of the 8. So since I'm using a 6 right, then that lets me know that I'm in the right aisle right there. So you put a shim on the bottom of your dog bone, and then they put that literally right in between the femur and the tibial to straighten out the leg. And that'll let you know that the spacing is correct and that they don't need to make any more cuts. The doctor will do that. And after that, you know, you got your femur in, you do your spacing. The next thing you're gonna do is take the tibia plate, all right? So one thing that I skipped here is we check the tibia like alignment, right? Right before making that tibia cut, you're gonna check your tibia alignment with this handle and this rod. The alignment handle and the alignment rod. That's gonna literally go right into your tibia cutting block. And that'll let them know that the alignment is correct if it's lining up correctly with the rod. So, and then after you're done with that rod, you're gonna take this tibia handle, this alignment rod, and that's gonna go into your tibia plate. Now, a lot of times the doctors will let you know, or you can check the cut. We already know in advance, like I said, but you could check that tibia plate on top of the cut that you made for your tibia, because when you get that bone back, you can match it up with that and see if it works. So anyway, after checking the spacing, you're gonna move on to your tibia. So you're gonna take the plate, put it onto the handle, give it to the doctor. They're gonna kind of line it up on top of the tibia, make sure that they like it, all right? And then you're gonna take that top piece that's gonna go through the holes there. You're gonna give that to them with a mallet, all right? And then you're going to do the punch. Our keel punch is size 6 through 8, so it matches the fact that that's a 7. That's what you need. There's 2 different size keel punches. If it's smaller, you're gonna go with the smaller one. So you see this keel punch is 3 through 5, and that matches if you have a 3 through 5. But since we have between 6 through 8, then that's why we take the 6 through 8. All right, so actually the first thing you do is drill. But same thing with the drill here, it's size specific. You know, the drill, you don't want to drill too far deep. So that's the 3 through 5 stop. But we have the 6 through 8 stop. You can't see it right here, but that's it, 6 through 8. All right. So you're gonna drill and then punch, and then your tibia is ready. Now your femur is ready, your tibia is ready. And the last thing that you're gonna do is size this poly that goes right in between. These are the polys. Once again, they are size specific. Articular surfaces is the politically correct term, but you're gonna take the 6 poly along with one of your shins. It goes right underneath of it. And then you put that right in between the femur and the tibia. All right, you size it, they make sure they like everything. If they like everything, the last thing that we're gonna do is prep the tibia, or excuse me, prep the patella. So we use this jaws looking Depuy bone thing there. They put it right on the tibia, and then you're gonna take the saw, right? Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you about the box cut. So in order for this to be able to fit onto the femur, the last cut that we make is with that saw back there, the reciprocating saw. So it's like the saw that's up and down instead of like that. All right. When I give them that saw, it's hiding back there. You can't really see it, but you can see it. I usually give them a Homan to protect the tibial surface of the bone because they're cutting like this, and you want to make sure it's protected. Sounds like a lot of steps, but this is a lot easier than you may think. When we make that cut, this is the notch guide that we use. We're gonna take the 6 sized one and cut right in between that with that saw. And then that's when they put on the femur. But anyway, prepping the patella, first we use that and the saw, all right? Then after we use that, we're going to, you make the patella flat, and then you're gonna put 3 holes in it to prepare it for the implant. And that's the clamp that we use right there. It's size specific. We have a 38 there, depending on how big your patella is. And essentially that's it, you know? Long story short, that's about it. Then we mix our cement in the cement mixer. Usually the PA does that, which is nice. One less thing for me to do. That's the cement gun holder right there. All right, and yeah, there is the manometer that we use for the bone cement. That goes along with the powder. Those are the scrapers that they use. Once the cement is in place and they're putting the implants on, they use the scrapers to scrape off any excess bone cement that is inside of the femur and the tibia and patella. And then you save the excess bone cement that you're given. I usually put it into the buckets that the implants come in, and that way you can keep track to see if it's getting hard, if it hardens. And yeah, man, I mean, that's about it. Once we get the femur and the tibia implants in, we're gonna size with your articulation surface, or the poly is what we call it for short. You're gonna size it again, see if you like it. If so, then they're gonna give you the real one, you know, the implant. Once they are putting the real one in, this is the impactor that they use to put in the poly. All right, they'll take that with a mallet, bang, 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 put it in, and that's it, man. And that's essentially a quick version, explanation, breakdown of my Attune total knee setup, Depuy. Oh yeah, here's my drapes too. You know, we use a couple down sheets, a sticky U, a stockinette right there, and then we use our extremity drape, and then they put one big drape at the top there afterwards. I have my dressings underneath, which is just, I forget the name of the dressing. but it's just a nice dressing. And then we got, you know, our hoods, our gowns, our IO-band. I would say more, but listen, I gotta pee, so I'm not trying to pee myself, so I'm about to go. And I'll holler at you guys later. I hope you appreciate the video. It's your boy, the Surgical Guru. Let's go. If you made it this far in the video, I truly appreciate your support. If this video helped you, make sure to subscribe because I'll continue posting more surgical setups, sterile technique breakdowns, instrument guides, surgical technology tips, and much more. I also officially launched the Surgical Guru Academy Skool community for surgical tech students, new grads, experienced CSTs, travelers, and anyone looking to sharpen their skills in the operating room. Inside the community, we'll be having study groups, orthopedic technique breakdowns, career guidance, surgical setup help, travel tech conversations, and networking with other people in the field. If you're serious about growing as a surgical tech, make sure to join using the link below. And lastly, if you'd like to support the channel even further, donation links are also available below. Every bit of support helps me continue creating better educational content for the surgical technology community. I appreciate all of you, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.